Hey everyone, and welcome back. I am the part-time economist, and in today's video I have got a fascinating personal finance book review for you. We're talking about the Money Answer book, written by the wildly popular but sometimes controversial Dave Ramsey. So in today's video, I'm going to very briefly describe the structure, the format of the book, and then we'll talk about what really matters, which is the content, what is Dave's advice, and what do you need to know about his personal finance philosophy. So right off the bat, I think the structure, the format of the book was absolutely fantastic. It is written in a question and answer type dialogue. It's engaging, it seems interactive. If you've got a specific question, it will give you specific advice, and that's what I really like. It's not one of those books where you have to read 5 hours and 400 pages just to pull out a couple nuggets of useful information. So I really liked that. Another added benefit is that because it's broken up into so many quick questions, if you've only got 5 or 10 minutes to read, you can go through a couple questions and then start a new one when you come back. You don't have to try and find your place halfway through a 30-page chapter like some other books. So that's the format, the structure of the book. Now, this is a book review, not a financial advice video, but I still do want to talk about some of the points that Dave makes in the video, because Dave is a, like I said, popular financial influencer, guru, whatever word you want to use, but he also gets a lot of criticism. And I think these two specific points that I'm going to show you from the book will show you both why he is different from other financial personalities, as well as some of the reasons behind that difference. So the first real thing that Dave gets a lot of criticism for is how he talks about paying down your debt. Now, keep in mind, every financial advisor out there is going to stress the importance of paying down debt. It's the way that Dave tells you to do this that is different. And bottom line up front, he is telling millions of people that listen to him to pay down their debt in a way that is mathematically, provably, not the most efficient way. Now, I know that sounds terrible. It's really not as bad as the internet makes it out to be. And I'm going to show you why. So just bear with me for this example here. So let's suppose someone has a couple debts, which most people that are in debt have more than one debt. So someone has a $100 debt at 10% interest rate, and they've got a $1,000 debt at 20% interest rate. Let's suppose they come across $100, right? I'm making up a number here. They found it in the washing machine. They got a raise, whatever the case may be. Dave says, look, I want you to pay off your smallest debt. I don't care if it's $100, $50, 73 cents, pay down that smallest debt. So we follow Dave's advice. We cross that debt completely off our list. We feel good about ourselves, right? We went from having 2 different debts to only having one. If we look at the math behind it, we have a $1,000 debt that remains. 20% interest is $200 per year in interest, right? We're making progress. We are cutting down our debt. Who could be upset with that proposal? Well, the answer is a lot of people, because there is a second way that you can pay down debt, and this is known as the avalanche method. The avalanche method is common sense. It says, look, put your money where it's going to be the most effective. So that $100, I want you to put it towards the highest interest rate debt. We're not going to completely get rid of it, but we will cut it down from $1,000 to $900. So now we have a $900 debt at 20% interest rate, so that's $180 per year. We have a $100 debt at 10% interest, so $10 per year, which comes out to $190 per year, saving us $10 per year versus Dave's method. Now, you're thinking $10 a year, big deal, right? Now, this was a simple example where the person only had $1,100 in debt. Most people that have debt have way more than that. So if this was $11,000 in debt, then the difference is $100 per year, right? It scales up the more debt you have and the bigger the disparity between those interest rates. I'm not trying to confuse you. You don't need to know all the math. The simple takeaway you need to know is that Dave is telling people to do something that isn't mathematically optimal. So, Dave, my guy, what gives? Millions of people trust you. Why are you telling them the wrong thing? Well, the answer is Dave isn't giving bad advice. He's giving advice from a different perspective, and I want to explain this. I'm going to paraphrase, but Dave says, look, people don't go in debt because they don't know how to add or subtract. It's not about math. People go into debt because of circumstances, because of behaviors, because of emotions, right? All of these things going on. And Dave says, look, when you are in debt, when you're having that mountain of debt just bearing down on you, you don't want to think about the most mathematically optimal way. You need to get some wins. You need to get back on track. You need to get on your feet, right? Whatever metaphor you want to use, it's important for you to have some psychological victories. And that is what paying down your smallest debt does, because you can look and you can say, wow, at the start of the month, I owed 15 different creditors. Now I only owe 10 different creditors, right? You can see yourself crossing those things off the list. It gives you that momentum to keep going forward in a way that's saying, wow, I still have the same number of debts, but one of them is imperceptibly smaller, right? It doesn't have the same effect. So just to kind of share some paraphrased passages, Dave says that personal finance is 20% knowledge and 80% behavior. He also says that saving isn't a matter of math. You won't save when you pay off the car or when you get a raise. You will save when it becomes an emotional priority. And this is the key to understanding Dave Ramsey. He's saying, look, I'm a smart guy. I run a multi-million-dollar company. I know how the math behind interest rates works. At the same time, I also know math isn't the problem here. The problem is emotions. The problem is behavior. All these things that people are going through, and they are much more likely to stick with a plan if it's manageable, if it's something that makes sense, if it's something that gives them that positive feedback. So again, the internet likes to blow everything out of proportion, right? Yes, it is absolutely true that there are more efficient ways to many of the things that Dave suggests. However, the difference between doing the most efficient thing and not doing anything at all, well, Dave gives you a really good option that might be more attainable. And we can actually kind of see that philosophy carry through to his view on credit cards as well. Now, every financial advisor out there is going to say credit card debt is bad, right? 25% plus interest rate. Everyone says credit card debt is bad. But Dave says, look, I don't even care if you pay your credit card in full on time every month. Do not use it, right? And people like me will come and will say, Dave, what are you talking about? Think about it this way. If I have a credit card and I pay it in full on time every month and it gives me a 2% cash back, well, if I spend $100 on a credit card and get 2% cash back versus $100 in cash, well, putting that on my credit card is like getting every single thing that I buy 2% off, right? That's more money to save. That's more money to invest. What do you not like about this, Dave? And Dave says, look, again, this isn't a matter of math. Simply having a credit card makes it more likely that you're going to spend more. It's easier to spend, right? When you are paying with a $5, a $20, or a $100 bill, it hurts to see that leaving your wallet, right? So a credit card, you swipe it. You see your statement at the end of the month. Maybe you don't even look at your statement because it's on auto pay, right? What Dave is saying is he's saying, look, when you have the credit card, you're going to spend more. So it's not a question of $100 on a credit card versus $100 in cash. It's more like $100 in cash versus $150 on a credit card because you're going to spend more, right? And again, that's just one aspect where Dave really focuses, again, on the psychological, on the behavior, right? Again, from a mathematical standpoint, yes, if you're going to spend exactly 100, but one of them is giving you 2% off, there's no arguing, right? The one with the 2% off is more efficient, but he's saying you have to look beyond that, right? And that is one of the things that I really like about Dave, is that he doesn't just treat this like a math textbook, right? He considers the reality that people are going through. And that's kind of my takeaway from the book as a whole. So is this book going to give you the most mathematically optimal solution for every money problem you have? No. But it is going to give you good, practical, actionable things that make sense, that might be easier to actually apply and stick with. And for that, I think Dave Ramsey really stands out as far as helping people get to a good, solid financial level of understanding. Now, keep in mind, I will spend hours researching online how to move a couple cents from one account to another to get just a few extra points of interest, right? That's fun to me. That's what I like doing. Not everyone is like that, right? And that's the great thing about having so many different types of financial books out there, is that there's one for every personality, right? Dave's, again, like I said, it's not going to optimize every single thing, but it's going to give you, especially this book. I've read a couple of his other ones, which are similar, but specifically this one, with its targeted answers to specific questions, I think is going to be very helpful. It was written in 2010, so some of the facts and figures, at least the version I read was 2010 edition. Some of the facts and figures might be out of date, but the general overarching principles, I think, more or less still apply. So as always, I do appreciate you watching the video. I hope you found it useful. If you've got any personal finance books that you really like or that you really dislike and you want me to take a look at them, be sure and leave them in the comments down below. I will see you next time.